Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Friends, family in mourning after missing resort manager found dead. Even though she suspected that her missing father, resort manager Clyde Taylor, would not be found alive, the confirmation of his death was a body blow that left Shamara Taylor devastated on Thursday. It was one of my dad's friends who called to say they found my father's body. When I heard, my body went cold because I couldn't believe what he was saying. But we knew it was going to lead to this because the person who my father was, he was going to fight whoever came at him. He was never going to let it go by that. They would have to do something like this to him for him not to come home, a distraught Shamara reported. On Thursday, the 65-year-old employees, friends and those who work in the tourism industry struggled to come to grips with the tragic end to a nightmare that began last Saturday. That was the day he was last seen telling his sister, Vanna Taylor, herself a well-known player in the tourism industry, that he was headed out for a few hours. He allegedly left his home in Salem Runaway Bay for Ocho Rios, did a route check-in with an employee via phone and then vanished. It was unlike him to not notify relatives about his whereabouts, so the family's hope that he would return safely to them began to fade after 2 days had passed. Police said Taylor's body was found with several chop wounds in a Nissan Note motorcar shortly after midday on Thursday in the district of Top Hill in Hampton Runaway Bay. I never knew that these days I had with him would be the last days of seeing my father. I never imagined that someone would take him away from us in such a manner, Shamara lamented as she reacted to his death. I never knew this would be a part of me and my sibling's story. The 31-year-old said she recently returned to Jamaica from Brazil, where she lived for several years. Since returning home, she has been living with her dad, and his death has left her in shambles. I just came back in April last year, but when I was away, I spoke with him every day. He was always there for me. I can never say I called on my father for something and he disappointed me, Shamara reported. She said he was just as present as in his other children's lives, and his eldest son, Nehu Taylor, and daughter Kingina Taylor would also depend on him. He was always helping my brother and sister with their restaurant. Whenever we call on Daddy, he always shows up. It doesn't matter even if you and him not on good terms. You tell him you need something, he says all right. He gets it done. He was a family man and always around his children, Shamara added. This generosity and willingness to help extended to others outside the family, she said, so it was difficult to understand why anyone would want to harm him. There is always somebody with some story, and he tried to save everybody, she added. The elder Taylor was well known within the tourism sector, and news of his death has rattled those who knew him from his role as a manager at the Fisherman's Point Resort in Ocho Rios. Mr. Taylor and his sister Vanna, who served as second vice president of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourism Association, JHDA, has been stalwart of Jamaica's tourism industry for several decades, contributing much to the development of the industry. We mourn his loss. May his soul rest in peace, said JHDA President Clifton Reeder in a brief statement. Regional Director at the Jamaica Tourism Board, Odis Dyer, expressed sorrow after hearing of Taylor's tragic passing. This is really such a blow in the industry to have such a stalwart, somebody who has been in the industry as long as he has, to leave us in such a manner. It is very unfortunate, and I'm sending our prayers and thoughts and deepest condolences to the family, she noted. Shanika Ratri, an employee at Fisherman's Resort, was also among those devastated by the news. Mr. Taylor was a very nice person. He is good with his employees, even though he can also be strict when it comes on to his work. I am very devastated to know that someone would do such a thing, she stated. 2 died transporting gunshot victim to hospital. A woman and a teenage girl were killed when the vehicle they were using to transport a gunshot victim to the hospital crashed on the Haddo Main Road in Whithorn, Westmoreland on Wednesday. Dead are 29-year-old telephone operator Vanessa Spence and 16-year-old Brianna Smith, both of Golden Grove District Rumble in Hanover. Reports from the police are that about 11:24 p.m., Spence and Smith were patrons at a party in Rumble along with 26-year-old Alger Ricketts of Accent Ease. Explosions were reportedly heard, and it was discovered that Ricketts was shot. Spence was assisting Ricketts to the hospital when the Toyota Axio motor car she was driving collided with a Ford F800 motor truck. Spence, Ricketts, and Smith, who were also in the motor vehicle, were trapped inside the vehicle and had to be extricated by members of the Westmoreland Fire Department. They were transported to the hospital, where Spence and Smith were pronounced dead. Ricketts died while undergoing treatment. Investigations are ongoing. 27-year-old St. Elizabeth farmer charged with illegal possession of firearm. A 27-year-old St. Elizabeth farmer has been charged with illegal possession of firearm and ammunition following a police operation in Broadleaf District on Tuesday. He is Burgess Clark of Broadleaf District in St. Elizabeth. Police reports are that about 5 a.m., a search was conducted at a premises in the community. During the search, a chrome and black 9mm pistol, made and serial number not visible, with 1 magazine and 5 9mm cartridges, were found along with cash amounting to $2,065,000. The police seized the firearm, ammunition, and cash. Clark is scheduled to appear before the St. Elizabeth Parish Court in Santa Cruz on March 9. The police said he is also being investigated under the Proceeds of Crime Act in relation to the cash. Trelawney Police lists 9 wanted men. 9 men have been listed as wanted for various crimes by the Trelawney Police, ranging from wounding with intent to murder. Superintendent Carlos Russell, division head for the parish, shared that among the wanted is the alleged assailant in the murder of a woman earlier this year. Russell is asking the men to turn themselves in so that these matters can be settled. We're asking all these men to turn themselves over to the police as soon as possible, he stated on Thursday. Junior Bennett, also known as Big Shot, is wanted for murder of 44-year-old farmer Garcia Williams. Williams was killed on her farm in Greentown on January 31, 2022. Twins Stanford and Eric Morrison are wanted for an incident of murder that took place in 2018 in Bounty Hall. They are also facing 2 counts of wounding with intent. They are known to frequently visit the Wakefield community. Brian Samuels, aka Bray, is wanted for October 21 murder of 57-year-old farmer Leroy Graham, who was beaten to death during an incident at a bar in Lurmins in the south of the parish. Also making the murder section of the list is Lascelles Wright, otherwise called Brian, of Warsop, who is wanted for a murder that was committed in the community of Low River in 2019. On the charge of shooting with intent, Twain Ellis, also called T.Y., of the Low River address. This comes following the incident, which occurred on March 8, 2021 in the community. Junior Clark, also called Tick-Chess, is wanted for wounding with intent, while Colin McFarlane and Kristen Davis are wanted for wounding with intent. Full resumption of face-to-face classes March 7. The Ministry of Education and Youth has approved the full resumption of face-to-face learning effective Monday, March 7. The ministry stated that in preparing institutions, funds will be disbursed for sanitization and procurement of furniture where needed. It further added that documentation is also being prepared to ensure the timely payment of the 4 tranches of the funding grant, which is due in April. The ministry in its bulletin said that school administrators are being reminded that all institutions must be approved by the Ministry of Health and Wellness for in-person classes. The 3 to 6 feet social physical distancing condition has been relaxed, which means that classroom seating can be arranged to reflect the usual spacing of desks and chairs prior to the coronavirus COVID-19 restrictions. In classrooms where the 3 to 6 feet rule has been erased, there should be increased vigilance and monitoring of the students for mask wearing, temperature checks, and for any sign of illness, the bulletin said. As part of the requirement for the full face-to-face resumption of schools, administrators will continue to use the isolation centers where there are signs of illness and continue to work closely with health professionals, including parish health inspectors. They should also prepare a space and use the protocols to isolate and treat students and staff who may become ill or show symptoms of the COVID-19 virus. In addition, workstations must be installed in strategic location as guided by the Ministry of Health, and staff, parents and students should be resensitized about the safety protocols, the minister stated. The bulletin went on to add that school administrators should ensure compliance with the wearing of masks and frequent washing of hands, facilitate regular and structured mask break, and maximize the use of open spaces in a structured manner. It added that people who enter the school grounds each day should have their temperature taken, with only those with temperatures at 37 degrees Celsius and below receiving entry. However, where the temperature is 37.5 degrees Celsius to 37.9 degrees, the person must be isolated for 5 to 10 minutes and the temperature rechecked. To ensure safety of students and staff at each institution, regular cleaning, disinfecting, sanitizing of school buildings, classrooms, and other facilities must be done prior to the resumption of school and according to a daily routine while school is in operation. In addition, schools are advised to organize blizzards to ensure full vaccination of all stakeholders. JCDC extended lines for 2022 competitions. The Jamaica Cultural Development Commission (JCDC) has extended the deadlines for the submission of entries for its 2022 competitions. This is to facilitate additional time for potential participants to complete and submit their entries. The deadline for the JCDC's flagship event, the Jamaica Festival Song Competition, and the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen Competition is March 18. Other competitions for which the submission timeline for this month include a National Festival of the Arts, Music, Dance, Speech, Drama and Theatre, the Traditional Folk Form Competition, which is slated to close March 14, and the Jamaica Visual Arts Competition and Creative Writing Competition, which will close March 31st. Entries for the Jamaica Gospel Song Competition should be submitted by April 15, while the Jamaica Culinary Arts Competition will now close on May 13. All entries should be submitted by 3:30 p.m. each day. JCDC Public Relations Coordinator Kristen Leng has encouraged individuals to take advantage of the extended deadlines to participate in this year's competitions in celebration of Jamaica's 60th independence anniversary. We have all competitions open for the 2022 cycle for the Jamaica 60 Diamond Jubilee. Persons are allowed and encouraged to enter as many competitions as is applicable to their talents, she said. All submissions are to be done online. Interested persons may submit their entries to the JCDC's website at www.jcdc.gov.jm. They may also visit the website for additional information regarding the application process, competitions rule, and guidelines. We are only accepting online entries this year, so we are asking persons to go to the JCDC website and enter there, Leng stated. The competitions are being staged under the theme, Reigniting a Nation of Greatness. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.